is Natalie, and welcome to my Flosstube channel, Sugar and Stitches. I am coming at you today with a little bit of a plans, WIP Parade, and normal Flosstube amalgamation of things. I know a lot of people do separate videos for all of those, but I don't have that much new stitching to show you guys. I've been on a little bit of a new start kick, and a lot of them I haven't even posted to Instagram yet. Well, two of them I haven't posted to Instagram yet, so I don't know, I've been a little bit all over the place. I haven't had that much time to stitch. I worked most of Christmas week, so my company gives us Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, but I still had to work Monday, Thursday, Friday, and then we went to an EDM festival over the weekend, so it was a lot. It was so much fun, but it was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. for 2 nights in a row, and it was a lot. Hey, buddy. Sorry, my cat was playing with a clothespin that was under my desk. Buddy, what you doing? Okay, he's fine. So yeah, we went to an EDM festival, and that was a ton of fun, but we were just busy, and we were out of town for those few days, and I took off Monday, Tuesday of this week, and then today is New Year's Day. So Happy New Year's, everyone, and I hope you guys enjoy what I have to show you guys today. I hope you've had a good Christmas and a good start to 2025. My start to 2025 was actually finishing one of my seasonal stitches that I have. So I have been working on the Stardew Valley seasons, and I'm almost done with all 4 of them. I have 3 of them done now. The latest one that I finished was winter. So I'm super excited for that. This will come with me to work on, well, tomorrow on Thursday, and I'll put it up in my office. So there you go. And then I already have, last year I already did, let's see, I'm just switching these out of the same hoop, so these aren't in hoops right now, but I also have summer and autumn done. So now I just need to do spring, and then I can cross that project off of my to-do list. The other thing that I did do, and I do have a new start from this as well, is I went to Jingle Ball in early December, and that was a ton of fun. I sat at some stitching tables. I had a good time. I started kind of not feeling super great on Saturday. Friday I was fine. I felt like I was, like involved in everything. Saturday I feel like I was a little out of it. I don't know. I was like at a stitching table. I was trying to have conversations with people, and my brain was just like not keeping up. And so I was supposed to do the gingerbread house finishing class from Tiny Modernist on Sunday, and I just was not feeling up to doing anything, so I don't even think I logged on at all Sunday, but I did finish all the stitching for it, because I think last time I showed you guys I only had the front of the house done, which was this piece right here. So I have all the stitching finished and all the pieces cut out, so I have the front, the back, and 2 sides finished, and this is on 32 count gingerbread linen from Picture This Plus. And I don't know when I'm actually going to get around to FFOing it, because now that Christmas is over and we're going to put up all of our Christmas stuff this coming weekend, I don't really feel like finishing it right now, like fully finishing it, but I watched the video and everything, and I'll definitely get it fully finished before like I put up Christmas stuff next year, that's for sure. But I don't know, I'll just kind of sideline the fully finishing of that for now until I get like the urge to do that. Alright, the next thing that I actually made progress on was my Night of the Frost Dragon Sal that I'm doing with Jara from Stitch Flurries on Instagram. And I have finished the next part of this guy. So this was such a big part. This 4th part was all of this druid, this entire big frost dragon, and all of the little like accoutrements around him. So yeah, this was not a small part, and I'm doing this on 18 count Asahi Ada, yes, Ada from Kitten Bloom Studio, I believe, on Etsy. And this looks really good so far. I'm loving it. She had a couple options to customize the druid character in the bottom right. So I did change her hair and her antlers, because the original one she had like a little fox ears and a tail, and so the designer Flossy Fox shop provided a different version where you could do antlers instead of the fox ears, and then a different hair option, because she had like a short kind of cut bob on the original one, and I liked kind of the little bit like longer poofy hair for her. So I've gotten progress on that. My goal with that for this year is just to keep up with the Sal. I'm not really like, not that it couldn't go for something on WIP Go, because I'll talk about my WIP Go board later, and it's a little vague, and I made it intentionally vague because I didn't want to force myself to stitch on like particular projects when I don't really want to. But my real goal for this one is just to keep up with the Sal and to finish it, you know, with everyone else on time. So hopefully I can still do that and my WIP Go and get things finished that I want to finish, because I also do want to finish the Stardew Valley seasons. That should be pretty quick. I only have the one more spring hoop to do, and really they do go pretty quick. All those little motifs, all the little fruits and veggies have a lot of color changes for each one, actually. There's probably like 10 different colors per like single little, you know, fruit or whatever. So it's a little more intense than it looks, but I think I should still be able to finish that pretty soon and cross that off my list. So that's my cell that I'm working on. Now for the three new starts, actually, that I had, one of which I posted on Instagram. The first one that I posted on Instagram was Yule Goddess by Tiny Modernist. And I'm doing this on the called for 30, I think it's 34 count. It's a weird count. If I know it's 30 count. It's 30 count. It's 30 count grasshopper, which is a called for fabric, and so far I don't have that much done. I just have kind of that upper right hand corner with that first branch, the moon, and the little ornaments hanging there. So I worked on this during Jingle Ball before I started feeling really cruddy, so I got a decent amount of progress in on that. I definitely want to work on this more, and honestly I might work on this more just through the winter. I don't know. This one is kind of Christmassy, but it's also, I don't know, it also just gives me general winter vibes as well. So I might keep pulling this out a little bit throughout January, but we'll see. The next start that I had is like the saddest start ever. I have probably like, I don't know, 20 stitches in this. But I started Snowflakes and Stars by Lindy Stitches. So this was a Jingle Ball release this past year, and I bought the kit off of her website for it. So it came with the Weeks Dye Works. There's a Classic Color Works in here too, with all the overdyed cotton flosses, and then 36 count pearl gray linen, which it's kind of hard because I used to do a lot of samplers and stitches that were on higher count stuff. Like a lot of 36, a lot of 40 count, even some 46 count stuff, and now I'm kind of, you'll notice most of my projects are like 28 count even weave and 32 count linen or even weave, and I don't have a lot of stuff anymore that's like, you know, higher count, smaller, teeny tiny little stitches. So this was a little actually hard for me going backwards to a higher count fabric and trying to see what I'm doing. By all means, I do have horrible eyesight. I'm extremely nearsighted, but usually, obviously, that's not a problem when I'm looking at something like this close to my face. But anyway, it's just kind of hard for me to see again, going back to that count. Like, I'm not used to it anymore, so I just have to get back into the into the flow of everything, I guess. But I'll put a picture of what that project will look like up here. And this is my very, very sad, tiny start on one of the little branches on the very top. That's literally all that I have done here. So not a lot to show, but I'm also hoping to work on this more this month. It's just so cute. The little geese on this pattern are what got me. The little geese with the scarves that are flying on it. It's adorable. But yeah, very, very sad start. Not that much. I just kind of got something in it because I wanted to start it. And kind of didn't really, I don't know, make an effort to get more of a substantial amount of stitching in on it. The next thing that I have is kind of wild. This was a kind of a complete impulse thing that I did. And I started a full coverage. I've had a mixed relationship with full coverage in the past. I say that just because, I don't know, I see other people doing it and it looks beautiful and I'm like, oh, that's so great, like I love it, you know, it looks gorgeous. But my problem with it is that it doesn't always look gorgeous when you're stitching on it, you know, like if you're really close up and you have a bunch of confetti and you have a bunch of colors that maybe don't seem like they really go where they are in the pattern, but then you back up and it kind of like, you know, the whole picture like smooths out into like a nice looking smooth gradient of, oh, that makes sense, that's like where that shading is and everything, so it looks better when you step away from it. So I have tried full coverage before and every time I quit. But I did it again. I did this again to myself. So we're going to see if I can actually make it through a full coverage pattern. This is a pretty big one. I think it's like 140,000 stitches or something like that. But I got this from Thread Geeks and it is their Izanami goddess. So it's like the Shinto goddess of death and she looks pretty cool. Braxton really likes this pattern too. And so I'm like, if I finish this eventually I can give it to him. But I have, I think, like 400 stitches in this right now. I've just started doing the 310 in the upper left-hand corner. So, fun fact, I actually bought a couple patterns from Thread Geeks because she was having like a, I think it was like buy two, get one free or something like that. And so I bought 3 patterns total and I started one on this same fabric and then I realized, hold on, let me show you guys this. I started a different one on this side. Started it, got a pretty, like, you know, not like a stupid amount through, but, you know, 1,000+ stitches, whatever, got it in there. 1, I was trying to do tent stitch because I thought it would go faster. 2, I unfurled this from the hoop and I realized this was oriented the wrong direction. So it's supposed to be long ways this way and it's short ways this way. So I kind of rage quit that a little bit, and then I decided, okay, you know what, the Izanami goddess is smaller, and she'll fit, if I start on the other opposite side of the fabric, she'll fit without me having to frog out all of those tiny, tiny stitches, because I'm doing this 1/1 on 28 count. And I did decide to do 1/1 full crosses for this one, instead of trying to mess with the tent stitches, just because they were looking messy to me and I didn't really love it. So I've already had a complicated relationship with this particular piece of fabric. But yeah, we'll get through it. Sometimes I just get the urge to have a full coverage pattern and, you know, I'll start one, I'll do 100 stitches and I'll rip it out and be like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, you know, I should just have a full coverage there that's just chilling, just going, and whenever I get the urge to work on a full coverage, I can work on a full coverage and it will get done when it gets done in 56 years. Alright, so that is all that I've been doing the past month or so. So you got to see my Frost Dragon Sally, you got to see my Stardew seasons, my Izanami Goddess, Yule Goddess, and my Snowflakes and Stars. So those are all part of my current WIP count. The rest of the projects I'm going to show you for this video are just WIPs that I haven't worked on since the last video at all, but I'll just kind of do like a recap of everything that I have in my in my WIP pile that is a work in progress for me, and kind of talk about maybe what some of my goals are for those. I don't really have a goal for any of my new starts yet. I don't know, I feel like I need to get into a project a little bit before I start telling myself, oh, I want it to be done by this particular point in time. So I don't really have a goal for those. I probably will never have a goal for Izanami Goddess until I get like really close to finishing it. But these next ones, I'll try and be like more substantial, like finish goal dates by. So, first one that I have is my one and only Nora Corbett, and this is Miss Goss Swallowtail. I love her so much. I'd like to finish her this spring sometime. I don't really have a hard and fast deadline for her, but I definitely want to finish her this year, and I'd prefer to do it in like the spring or summer when I'm still kind of feeling these colors and everything. And I'm stitching her on 32 count coconut shell from Bestitch Me. And here's what I have so far. So I have her dress, her legs, all the 310 done, and her wings. I need to keep filling in her the blue in her wings, which is not a small task. Those wings are pretty big. But yeah, so she is looking good. I really want to actually get her finished, and then after I finish her, I'd like to start another Nora Corbett, because I don't know, I have a couple Mirabilias, and, well, I have one Mirabilia on the go and then a couple Bella Filipinas, and I do love those, but I kind of like having the smaller fancy ladies, too, to work on, so once I finish her, I definitely want to start another one, and I have 2 Noras that are already kitted up that I have in my stash, so I can start one of those maybe when I'm done with her. So that's kind of my plan with that, and this month the WIP Go calls for this month, which I'll show you my WIP Go board a little bit later, but the ones for this month were 10 hours on a fancy lady for me and 10 hours on a full coverage, which I do technically have one more full coverage, but it's not like a Hade Thread Geeks like giant one, it's a kit full coverage, and that's the one I kind of had in mind when I put that goal on my WIP Go board. So I'll do 10 hours on a fancy lady of my choice, which I think is actually, I'm going to choose my next project that I'm about to show you to do that on, and then I'll probably work on my kit full coverage for 10 hours this month. The project that I'm probably going to use for fancy lady this month is Garden Prelude by Mirabilia, just because, I don't know, I love her dress, and that kind of like frosty blue teal dress gives me like winter vibes for some reason. And I love her. I love the flowers in the back. I love the fact that she's playing the violin, because I used to play the violin. And yeah, I love her so much. But I don't have that much done on her is the problem. I have pretty much just her hair and ribbons done on her, which this year I started off this year and I only had the black in her hair done, so I've done all of these ribbons and stuff since then, but I want to bring her out this month and definitely get more stitched on her. And I don't remember what this fabric is. It's just a normal like beige neutral color. I don't remember what it was called though, but she's really pretty. I can't wait to pull her out. I'll probably actually leave her out. I'm going to set her aside in her own separate pile so I can work on that later. Alright, next one is a Bella Filipina, and this is Azotea. She is gorgeous. She really reminds me of, so Braxton and I took a trip to Italy this past March, and we went to Venice and Florence, and this really reminds me of this actually reminds me more of Florence than Venice for some reason. Just like all the beautiful like terracotta roofs. We had a really nice suite at the hotel that we stayed at, where we had a rooftop terrace where you could see the Duomo from it, and it was gorgeous. I did want to do this on a slightly lighter fabric though, because I don't feel like the roses show up exceptionally well here, or like the bottom of the balcony. I feel like it just kind of blends into the fabric that they show it on. So I started this on 32 count hibiscus. I don't remember who it was from. I just remember it was called hibiscus. So I started it on kind of this like lighter orangey pink color, and I think that those flowers show up really, really well. And this year I've done a decent amount on the roses. At the beginning of this year, I think I only had up to like this rose right here. Like I had this end one down to here, and I didn't have any of these other roses or the kind of wrought iron fence post here done at all. So I've made progress. This is where her sleeve intersects the wrought iron fence post. So I kind of want to start trying to work into her so I can get the actual lady kind of stitched up a little bit, but I'm doing all the back stitch as I go and stuff, and I really love this. I think it looks gorgeous, and it definitely reminds me of some really good times that we had over in Italy. So yeah, that one's going to be sentimental for me for probably forever, honestly. The next one that I've been working on is my Cosmic Dreaming Girl by Barbara Anna, and this one was a little bit of a failure on my part because I told myself I was going to finish it this year, and then I didn't finish it this year. But she's really not that big. I can get her done without that much. I don't know, if I work on her for like another week or two, she can be done. So yeah, she's on 32 count Blue Moon, and she is so pretty. I love these little like kind of Space Invaders looking guys that are down here on her. But I need to finish out her hair and then all the little Space Invader guys. And then she'll be done. I'd like to frame her and put her on my wall in front of my computer setup so that I can look at her all the time. So yeah. And that's all the called for DMC. Pretty much everything that I've shown you, actually no, everything that I've shown you has been all the called for threads. I don't usually mess with thread conversions if I can help it. I'm like, I'm just gonna trust the designer. Alrighty. The next thing I have in my WIP pile is Midnight Way by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And I'm doing this on the called for 28 count Whimsy with, again, all the called for DMC. And I'm about a third of the way through this, so I started this past year. This was not a WIP in 2023. And I finished the entire like little bookshop section and then all of the little, little motifs that are under the bookshop here. I finished all of that. So I'm about a third of the way through this pattern. I'm not sure if I want to try and finish it this year or not. I definitely want to finish my Cosmic Dreaming Girl this year, and I'd like to finish another one of the larger fancy ladies that I have. So one of my Bella Filipinas, probably either Azotea or Garden Prelude or both. I'd like to finish at least one of those this year. And then my Nora Corbett as well, but yeah. This is so cute. I love their patterns. This one specifically with the little Ghost Riders bookshop. It's adorable. And they have the little Venus flytrap with the fly in the window and everything, and the cute little Frankenstein. So I'd like to at least get another third of the way through this, if not finish it completely. This is the only Halloween/fall seasonal thing that I have, because I've been trying, I've been trying to keep my WIP count down, I say as I like started 3 new things. But my problem is that I am really drawn to Halloween, autumn, and Christmas stitching things, and that's not the best for getting consistent progress for the entire year, I guess, because I'm a seasonal stitcher, but I'm like a month or 2 off because I'll get the urge to start stitching like Halloween, fall stuff in, I don't know, August or so, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm so excited for fall. I'll stitch on that for like August, September, and then about halfway through October, by the time we get to October, like a week or 2 in, I'm like, oh, okay, it's like I'm excited for Christmas now, even though Halloween hasn't already passed. Like, I have the Hobby Lobby like department store schedule of holidays in my head where they're putting out like Christmas stuff like October 1st for some reason. That's kind of how I am with my stitching. For some silly reason, it's like I want to work on it as I'm anticipating the season almost, rather than like when the season is actually there. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if anyone else is like that or I'm just like crazy, but that's how I feel about most of my projects. So I'm trying to limit my seasonal stitching to just like a couple things. Like I have my Yule Goddess and my snowflakes and stars for Christmas, and then I have my Ghost Riders, my Midnight Way for Halloween, fall, and I'm trying to limit it. It's fine. But so I have that, and then I have 3 more projects to show you guys, 2 of which are really, really old, and I need to, they're old kit WIPs that I've had, and I just need to finish them, and I don't know, I so rarely want to actually pull them out, even though I like the designs and I want them finished. It's a struggle. But before I get to those, I have one more fancy lady, and this is Gaia by Bella Filipina. So I've made some decent progress on her too. I think when I started this year, I only had like the very top of this wing done. So I literally had like maybe a 3-inch stretch of this one branch done. So I've done a lot of the rest of the branches. And then I started to work in her hair. So this is going to be her face, and then this is her hair, this brown that I've done kind of around her face. So I have worked over to her actual head, and I've done a lot more work on the on her wings, and her wings are beautiful. They're in a Karen Water Lilies color. I don't remember what it's called, but it's whatever's called for in the pattern is what I'm using. But it's this really pretty like mottled brown to green color, and I love it. So. And I don't remember what fabric this was either, unfortunately. I know it's a 32 count. I don't remember what it was called, but this is really pretty. I don't have any illusions that I'm going to finish that this year. But I think I would like to get to at least like the 50% mark on her. Because I think my problem right now is I have 3 really big, I say really big. I have 3 large fancy ladies that I don't have that much progress on. Even Azotea, which is probably the one that I have the most stitches in, is not anywhere close to even like a quarter of the way done. So I'd like to get them all to at least kind of like somewhere between the quarter to halfway mark done, if not more than that, which is why on my WIP Go board I have so many, like 10 hours on a fancy lady, 5 hours on a fancy lady, so it's like small achievable goals that are vague enough for me to apply to multiple projects depending on what I feel like on that month. So we'll see how far I get on her. I'm hoping I can get her at least like a quarter to 50% done, just so, I don't know, I have so many Mirabilias and Bella Filipinas that I want to stitch, and I'm like, I need to actually get some of these projects, just get more stitches in them before I go starting other ones, because I feel like I'm one of those people where I need a new start occasionally to like give me something new to work on, give me something fresh, get that little like serotonin, dopamine, you know, boop to my brain of, oh, you get to start something new, yay. But I also don't want to do that with a bunch of really, really big projects to the point where I have 50 projects and they're all like 10% done, which, no shade, if that's what you want to do, like, all power to you. I would do that if it wouldn't drive me crazy in the end. But yeah, I want to get some more like substantial progress on my bigger projects. Speaking of bigger projects, this next one is like the bane of my existence, to be honest with you. I love the pattern. I do not enjoy working a full coverage design from a chart. From a paper chart, I don't think. This is Woman in the Garden by Riolis, and this is this paper chart is cut into 4, so this is the bottom right quadrant of this chart. This is after a Claude Monet painting, which I love Monet, and Braxton also loves Monet. Next year when we go to Japan, we're going to go to the Pola Art Museum and go see some of Monet's artwork, which, yes, is for some reason in Japan. But here's what I've done so far. I'm not even a quarter done with this. It's not the most fun to work on. I love the end result of this. It's a little patchy in the darker areas because they have you using one strand on some of this, and there are some very dark colors in here, so it doesn't, if you look at it from far away, you can't tell. If you look up at it like really close, you can tell it's kind of like spotty coverage for some of it, but that just is the way that it is. I am probably going to pull this project out for my WIP Go call 10 hours on a full coverage this month. I would like to get more time into this, and I would really like to finish this year, but I'm not sure that that's realistic, so I'm going to say at least like halfway. So I'd like to finish this quadrant and then do a whole nother quadrant on this, but I'll see how that goes. I should just finish stitching this one quadrant and then just frame it. Just, who needs the other 3 quadrants of this pattern? Just do this. That's good. So I have that one, and that's a Riolis kit. So they use wool acrylic blends, so it's not like your DMC cotton. It's a lot fuzzier. It's almost like a yarn, like a thin yarn than anything else. It's definitely like, I don't mind it that much. I know some people absolutely hate it. Some people really like it. My understanding is it's more like traditional to like Russian, Eastern European embroidery. So that's why they use it in a lot of their patterns, but I don't mind working with it. It just, that pattern in particular annoys me a little bit, because it's so much, and it's not like you're working in small motifs or anything. It's just, if I was more adept with like Pattern Keeper or Markup RXP or something, I would probably put it in there. I have not had the motivation to like go familiarize myself enough with those softwares to try and upload something that's in paper form into that. I don't know, I might. If I had that in like a app, I would love working on it way more, and I would go way faster on it than trying to work off of the paper chart. Because it's also a color paper chart, so some of the darker symbols are harder to see because I don't know, they're printing it with mostly like solid color pixels basically, and that's what you're working off of, so sometimes it's kind of hard to tell the difference between some of the darker colors and things like that. So I'm trying my best, but it's a little bit of a pain. This next one is also a little bit of a failure on my part. I said I was going to finish this year. I did not finish this year, and that is another Realist kit, my Hedgehogs and Berries. So all of these berries and leaves here were not there at the beginning of this year, and neither was this kind of darker area around these leaves over here in the bottom of this hedgehog. So I've gotten a decent amount done on this. It's just, I don't know, I have the same problem that I do with my Woman in the Garden kit, where it's like, it's just harder. I've been spoiled with my Pattern Keeper and my, all of my other like apps and like helpful tools and things, to now I'm just like, it's harder for me to pick up the purely like paper patterns now, which is crazy because the first cross stitch kit that I finished was my, oh hi Miso, Miso decided to come say hi, was this kit right here, my sunflowers, and that's a Riolis kit called Hot Summer, which is pretty large. Like, it's basically the size of my Summer Queen over there. That's a pretty big kit. And I did that totally fine, but that's before I knew about like the wonder and glory of online, patterns and stuff, especially for like the more realistic, like color change heavy, like not really block stitching stuff like this. But yes, I would like to finish this by the end of this year. It's my new goal. So those are all of my WIPs, all of my kind of ideas of what I'd like to have finished. I do have some stretch goals too that are like finish both Azotea and Garden Prelude, but I know in the back of my mind I'm like, that's probably not going to happen. We'll have a realistic goal, and then we'll have a little bit of a reach for the stars goal there. So what else do I have? Okay, I can show you guys my WIP Go board, and I'll pop a picture of that up in the corner. Sorry, Miso, I'm probably going to cover you up. In the corner right now, and as you can see with this board, and I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking at my WIP Go board, which is on my computer, I have a few different squares that are just 10 hours on, a fancy lady or something with an animal or a holiday stitch or like something fantasy or seasonal or I have my sad start project square, which is at this point going to be that snowflakes and stars, a very, very sad start. But it's kind of, I tried to make my goals pretty vague. I tried to make them things that could apply to multiple different projects, just because I really don't like making myself stitch on one particular thing if I'm not feeling it. So I tried to have everything have at least 2 options. So like there's something with an animal. Like that could be, even my Izanami goddess has like a moth on it. There's my hedgehogs and ligonberries that obviously have hedgehogs. Like I'm pretty sure even my Bella Filipina Gaia has like a bird on it somewhere. So I was like, I'll make it stretch a little bit to just, you know, it doesn't have to be the main focus. It's just something that has a fantasy element, something that has an animal, you know, something that can apply to many different projects. The other thing that I have on here is some focus on a finish spaces. So things that are close to being finished, or maybe some smaller to medium-sized new starts that I have in the coming year. Like my Nora Corbett, my Miss Goss Swallowtail, she's close to being finished. Even my hedgehogs, I could try and focus on a finish for one of those things. I kind of put those squares in to just say, okay, try and get as close to finishing something this month as you can, with the goal of actually finishing a project. Now, as I said, most of my projects aren't super far into being stitched, aren't super close to being finished, especially my bigger projects, but I do have a few, or like my Cosmic Dreaming Girl is like that as well, or she's, you know, I could finish her in a month, right? So I put those on there just to motivate myself to actually finish some of my smaller stuff off that's closer to a finish. What else do I have on here? I have some numbered stitch goals, so I don't count stitches on like paper pattern stuff. I don't mess with it. I do have multiple patterns that are in Pattern Keeper though, so if I pull like a 2,000 stitches on anything or 1,000 stitches on anything, I'll just pick one of the charts that I have, one of my WIPs where the chart is in Pattern Keeper, and I'll just let Pattern Keeper keep track for me. I kind of chose those numbers too because I don't know, I feel like I'm a bit of I'm not necessarily a slow stitcher, but I have so many hobbies where like I play video games, I read, I, you know, stitch, I knit, I have a lot going on, and I also work full-time, and we also try and do fun things pretty frequently, whether that's like going out to eat for a night or like going to an EDM festival, or, you know, like we are doing our Japan trip next year. So like I don't know, things get a little bit busy. We're planning to do Comic Palooza next year. There's a lot of time, like I can get good stitching time in on the weekends. Like if I stitch for, you know, 4 or 5 hours on one day on the weekend, I can get maybe like, I don't know, 600-700 stitches in. So I don't know, I'm kind of thinking like, okay, I can maybe 2 weekends and I can achieve like 1,000 to 2,000 stitches, or like 10 hours, 10 to 20 hours on working on a particular project. But any more than that, and it's like, okay, well, likely one of those weekends we're not even going to be in town, and then I'm still trying to keep up with my Night of the Frost Dragon Sal, which, like I said, that last part was like, I think it was like 3,700 stitches, so that was not like a small amount for me, at least. I know some people are like super fast at stitching, and they do, you know, they're like, I did 10,000 stitches this week and it was super easy, and like, that's awesome. I have no idea how you guys do that. But I just tried to pick things that were like doable for me. And then I also had a couple new start spaces on here just to break up, just to kind of break up, oh gosh, like I have to stitch on my older projects, and I probably will have, no, not probably, I will have other new starts that are not on my WIP Go board. if I call two new, if there are two new starts called in the same month, I might just do one. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I'll see if it happens, and if that happens to occur, then I'll figure something out, because I kind of want them spread over the year, like, fairly equally. But yeah, that's kind of how I did my WIP Go board. There really aren't that many rules to it. I know Jessie Marie always says, you know, your board, your rules. So it's just kind of a fun thing to give yourself little goals to check off and get some good progress on older projects that might have been lingering for a while. But yeah, so it's fun. I like doing it. I think it's helpful, and I wanted to make it easy on myself, because I've done it in the past where I've said, like, given each square a particular project. So like, oh, this month you have to do 10 hours on hedgehogs and lingonberries or something. And I found that I don't like being told what to do, especially not in my hobby, something that's supposed to be like fun for me. You know, I have enough stuff that I have to do at work. I don't want to come home and be like, oh, I have to work on this project. Like, no. I want to be able to read or play a game or stitch on whatever I want for the most part, rather than, you know, having it feel like my job. So, yeah. Okay, so that's all for my WIPs and my WIP Go board. I do have a few things that Braxton got me for Christmas. I kind of told him, I was like, I don't really need any more patterns or like kitting stuff up, but I could use a few more like accessory type stuff. So he got me a couple needle minders from Hoops and More. So he got me this one. It's like a little resin butterfly with like sparkles in it. It's pink and sparkly. And then he got me this one, which is just kind of, it's like it's not a covered button, but it's just like a little covered piece of fabric in this little hoop-shaped wooden needle minder. So these are really cute. I like these. I'll have to put them with projects. The other thing I asked him for is, I've never tried grime guards before, and I use Q-snaps pretty much. Not exclusively. I do use hoops for my smaller projects, but even then I have like an 8x8 Q-snap that I like. Most of the time I'll work on an 11x11 Q-snap, and so he got me two grime guards to try. And I've tried this one a little bit. I really, really like it. I haven't put this one on yet, but he got me, this is one I specifically asked for, this pattern. It's like a nice, like, tie-dye-y pale pink and blue, color, and I really like that one. And then he picked this one out himself, and it has cute cats on it. So yeah. This is really cute, and I did really like working with it. I used it on my Frost Dragon Sal, and it was really nice just to kind of like contain the extra fabric on some of those patterns, and I imagine it will work even better on linen, because that pattern is on Aden, so it's a little bit stiffer. But I imagine if you use it on something that is linen, it's a little softer fabric, that it will work even better. So I'm really liking those so far. And then the other stitching related thing that he got me for Christmas was a project bag, and it came with a little felt needle case thing. So this one is also cat themed. It's little cats with flower crowns. Yeah, so these are super cute, and I still need to decide what project I want to put in this, because I haven't decided where I want what I want in this quite yet, but I will put something in there. Alright, but that is all my projects, my little bit of haul, and then, yeah, my plans. I'm trying to get better progress on stuff. We're going to try and focus on less new starts and more just progress. You know, love the things that you already have and have to work on. So, yeah, I hope you guys, once again, had a really good Christmas, had a really good New Year's. I hope that this past year was a good one for you. I know it was definitely a good year for me, and it's just a reminder of, I don't know, for me it's a reminder of how good life can be when you're doing it with the right person, you know, when, yeah, it's been a great experience, and I'm really happy to be back on Flosstube with you guys, and I hope you you know, liked all my projects and everything, and I will see you guys sometime at the end of January probably. So happy stitching, everyone. Bye.